Today, we'll preview the Gateway Dirt Nationals. Ricky Thornton Jr. is 99% sure. High Limit gets another, plus updates on the Chili Bowl, Alex Bowman Racing, and more. Let's go. It's Thursday, December 14th. I'm Justin Fiedler. This is Dirt Tracker Daily. One of the last big dirt racing weekends of the year is upon us, with more than 140 late models set to do battle inside the Dome at America's Center in St. Louis. This weekend's Gateway Dirt Nationals will also feature a stout field of modifieds. Thursday and Friday are split field prelim nights with 25-lap, 5,000 win late model features. And the top three from each are guaranteed a starting spot into Saturday's main event. If you want to see the full lineup of the prelim night lineups, go check out the Gateway Dirt social media channels. Those lists are very long. That Saturday show will feature 10,000 win for modifieds and 30,000 for the late models. Looking at some Gateway history, Scott Bloomquist won the very first race there in 2016. Then it was back-to-back for Bobby Pierce in 2017 and 2018. 2020 was canceled for COVID, so it was back-to-back for Tyler Carpenter in 2019 and 2021, wrapped around that COVID year. And then last season, it was an emotional win for Tyler Erb, who had just lost his dad to a heart attack 4 days before the event. Inside the Dome, the track build started last week and was officially complete by Friday via social media photos, and the move-in process for race team haulers started yesterday. There's actually a really neat time-lapse over on the Flow Racing social channels of that process. The pit area is in the convention center, which is next door, so they had like a cool video of all the haulers pulling inside of the convention center. All 3 days, on-track activity starts around 3 p.m. Central Time. Opening ceremonies are set for 5. I think this is one of those events that's incredibly difficult to handicap. So much can happen or not happen on that little tiny racetrack that I feel like it's difficult to pick favorites or winners. So I'll leave that to you guys down below in the comments. If you are headed for St. Louis this weekend, have fun. If you're not, you can catch all of the action live over on Flow Racing. If you're a Dirt Late Model fan, I would make sure to be following Kyle McFadden on social media this weekend as well. You can find him on Twitter at @ByKyleMcFadden. He's one of the Flow and Dirt on Dirt staffers, and he'll be at the Dome all weekend covering the action. He's been pumping out some good stories the last week or so around some of the off-season moves for a lot of the main guys. And yesterday, he had comments from Ricky Thornton Jr. about his 2024 plans. There have been hints and rumors along the way that RTJ could maybe flip to the Outlaws from Lucas, and I had heard at World Finals that he was being pitched by Steve Francis and that he was open to the possibility. But this week after the Lucas banquet at the PRI show, things feel like they're probably headed for status quo here. RTJ told McFadden, quote, "We aren't 100% sure what we're doing just yet. I say we're 99% sure we're back with Lucas, but it's not 100% yet," unquote. Kyle did a story about the reaction to the changes to the Lucas playoffs, and he talked to the driver of the 20 RT for that piece. That's where those quotes are. If that holds, Thornton would join a field that already includes Tim McCready, Max Blair, Hudson O'Neill, Boom Briggs, Garrett Alberson, Dalton Wilson, and Ross Robinson. We talked earlier this week about Brandon Overton and his potential to be back, and we are still not firm yet on decisions for Devin Moran and Jonathan Davenport. On Wednesday in Sprint Car Racing, High Limit added team number 12 with the announcement that Parker Price Miller has signed on as a full-time series member. PPM will campaign his own 9P machine next season, joining an ever more deep field of regulars. In his career, he's won with both the Outlaws and the All-Stars, but just 2 victories a year ago. One with the OVSCA at Atomic in April, and he won a 360 Knoxville Nationals prelim night in August. He spent time in multiple rides in 2023. He drove his own car, he drove the McCandless 29, and he filled in for a brief period for Zeb Wise at Rudine following Zeb's injury at Eldora. Overall, last year, 75 races, 15 top 5s, 29 top 10s. So at the moment, the full High Limit field is Brad Sweet, Casey Kane, Jacob Allen, Corey Eliason, Zeb Wise, Brandon Crouch, Rico Abreu, Justin Peck, Spencer Baston, PPM, Chris Windham, and Corey Day. Notables we're still waiting for on decisions include Tyler Courtney and Brent Marks. I think the Crouch 11 is a possibility as well once they figure out their driver situation. I've been told that High Limit is expecting as many as 16 or 18 teams by the time this is all done, so plenty more to come here with High Limit. One team that I got asked about this week was the Alex Bowman-owned 55 Sprint Car team. They ran a pretty good schedule a year ago, first with Bowman in the seat before he got injured in that High Limit show at 34 Raceway, then with Jake Swanson and Hunter Schurenberg in the car down the stretch. That injury for Bowman caused him to miss time with his NASCAR Cup Series ride at Hendrick Motorsports, and I think it played a pretty significant factor in his season kind of coming apart on the NASCAR side. I inquired earlier this week about the team's sprint car plans for 2024 and was told they were not shutting the program down. And then Bowman was on Sirius XM NASCAR radio with Dave Moody, and he revealed that he won't run as many races as they did in 2023, but instead here and there where Bowman wants, but it will be with other drivers in the seat. Bowman said he's not going to race a wing sprint car for the foreseeable future, instead choosing to focus on his Cup ride. It sounds like Hendrick management had some influence there as well. He did say, though, which I thought was interesting, that when his Cup career is over, he'd like to run full-time with the World of Outlaws sprint cars. And he's not the first NASCAR driver we've heard say similar things. Bowman's race team is still fielding midgets at the Chili Bowl with Jake Swanson and CJ Leary entered, and a third car listed right now as a TBA. Speaking of the Chili Bowl, as of yesterday, we are at 300 in total entries, with plenty more time still to add more before January 7th. As usual, loads of motorsports talent sprinkled through the list, including NASCAR drivers, plenty of sprint car guys, some dirt late model racers, and the usual suspects in non-wing and midget racing. We'll talk a lot more about the Chili Bowl later on as we get closer, but you can see that full list of entries over at chilibolt.com. I did want to hit on a few schedule releases today from the last week or so. First, the 39th year of Summer Nationals competition will feature 29 late model races and 25 modified shows from June 12th through July 27th in 2024. As it was this last season, the tougher schedule remains in place, but with the weekly championships sticking around. Each of the 5 late model weeks will have a $10,000 champion with a total of $125K distributed in point fund money through the summer season. This move to weekly champions, I think, seemed to be a win last year, allowed for some more freedom for teams to kind of come and go when it worked for them, and I think it helped keep the car counts up. You can see that full slate of races over at DIRTRACKR And the NARC 410 series out in California, they are ready to go for 2024 as well. 26 races up and down the West Coast from March 9th at Hanford to November 2nd at Stockton. Obviously very California heavy, but still that trip north to Oregon and Washington in June, culminating in the Super Dirt Cup at Skagit for that 3-day show that pays $62,000 to the winner. So a lot of money available at Skagit this year between the high limit show, I think that's $100,000, and the $62,000 Super Dirt Cup. With defending champion Corey Day off to do high limit, the NARC title will be wide open next season. It was pretty tight there through the top 5 in the standings at season's end. You had Justin Sanders, Dominic Selzy, Justin Cox, Bud Kading, all kind of staying within striking distance. That NARC schedule is posted at narc410.com. One more sprint car news item for you before we close out for today. Jeremy Elliott at SprintCarUnlimited.com reported yesterday that Dylan Norris is set for 60 or 70 races with a new family-owned team for 2024. If you might remember, Norris recently parted ways with the Gobrecht Motorsports team, with that group shutting down completely. Norris will start the season down south with high limit and then pick and choose from there. He'll obviously have a heavy focus on central Pennsylvania, but he did tell Jeremy that Ohio Speed Week and the Maverick Series in Indiana are some other possibilities. If you don't already, I would encourage you to check out Jeremy's website. He does have a paywall that I know he gets all sorts of hell for, which I don't really understand, but it's only $35 for the year. That's less than $3 a month, and he's one of the few guys who has breaking sprint car news throughout the season. I've been a paying subscriber of Jeremy's for, I think, 3 or 4 years, and I think it's important to support those creating content around the sport where possible. So I pay for all the streaming services, and I share podcast episodes and websites and YouTube channels for others in the space. We got to keep everybody rising up, around the sport. All right, that's it for the show this week. A quick programming note for the coming days. I've been grinding pretty hard the last few weeks. I'm going to take a few days off coming up and then also around Christmas. But don't worry, you will still see content coming out of my channel. So don't go away. There's still plenty of good stuff to come. I've got 2 interviews in the can. They will be shared this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Those will come out. There will not be a regular Sunday daily show, but there will be a daily on Monday, which I've already recorded. That will be one you won't want to miss. A friend in the industry gave me all the numbers, all the tea on a pretty interesting subject to be very educational, so stay tuned for that. My plan is to do something similar around Christmas, maybe not have daily shows, but instead a bunch of interviews to share. I will be back next week for regular content Tuesday through Thursday like normal, so don't go far. Plenty of good stuff still to come. I hope you guys have a great Thursday out there. We will see you back here for interviews over the weekend, plus a cool daily show on Monday.